Welcome back to Homeopathy at Home with Melissa. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Bree. So great to be with you again for another Materia Medica Monday.
Yeah, today is week 2 of a 3-part series we're doing, a little mini series on the milks. And that means, these aren't the only 3, but these are 3 bigger remedies made from different types of milk. So last time we covered Lack which is made from dog's milk. And today we're covering Lack Defloratum, which is made from skimmed cow's milk. And then our next Materia Medica Monday will be Lack Humanum, made from human mother's milk.
Nice.
So again, these kind of go back to the fundamental questions and needs that we all have. Love, nurturing, nourishment, being cared for, being mothered. And so all of them deal with issues surrounding separation, abandonment, wounded children, people with dependency issues, helplessness issues. And we're going to talk more about that today. Of course, you don't have to have all of those symptoms or that etiology, but that's how the 3 are linked.
Right.
So today is week 2, Lack Defloratum.
Lack Defloratum. Defloratum is skimmed
Defloratum.
milk.
That sounds good.
So this is one of the most important remedies for milk intolerance. And it's not a widely or hugely taught remedy for milk intolerance, right? We usually think of Aethusa, Silica, carb. We don't usually teach Lack Defloratum for milk intolerance. So here you go. It's one of the most important remedies for that. And it really is one of the most fundamental remedies because of it being made from milk. So this person can have periodical headaches. So remember, periodicity is every Monday you get a headache, or every month before your period you get a headache, or every year, there's
like a cycle to it.
Cycle to it, I guess, but it's periodic. So you get it this time or this day or this month. And they can have agonizing reactions every time they have to do anything with milk. Anything to do with milk, anytime they consume milk, they can have agonizing reactions. So they're, maybe it's a huge stomach ache or headache or whatever the reaction is. They become freezing cold, and they can have a complete loss of appetite. They could have, this could be a remedy for vomiting. Freezing cold, back to that, they can be blue. They're so cold. They can be, so their personality can be cold. They might be a cold person in that way, it doesn't ever cross my mind to describe someone as being cold in that way, like their personality. I always think of dry. I think of Eeyore. Can you think of a person that you know?
I have met people. Those people are not typically in my life because cold is a pretty cold person. Like, I think it's a lot. It's beyond just introversion, or I don't really want to be around people.
Right.
It seems kind of extreme, like almost heartless. Like because they're not always quiet when you're cold. It just means your emotions like totally detached from emotion.
Exactly. So like if you give somebody the cold shoulder, you're being not nice to them, right? So if you're a cold person with the personality, that's pretty yucky.
Yeah.
So this is a remedy for that. They can have complications during pregnancy with lots of vomiting and morning sickness. They can have their gut issues, can be milk allergies in general, skin symptoms, allergic reactions to milk, diarrhea, constipation, headaches, And these can be excruciating, blinding headaches with visual disturbances. They can get cramped and dehydrated, possibly due to the vomiting and the diarrhea. They get migraines with flashing lights. They can see certain aspects, or we can see certain aspects of calc carb picture coming through. The silica picture comes through sometimes in this person. The Aethusa picture sometimes comes through. So they kind of like we talked about earlier, the Aethusa, calc carb, silica can be weaved in to the Lack Defloratum person. Does that make sense? So you might see some of those symptoms weaved in with this Lack Defloratum person. Arguably, this is an even more important remedy than Aethusa. Isn't that interesting?
It is interesting, especially because it's not like versus like. This is the thing,
Yeah,
aid in potency.
that's right.
So,
Almond milk, yeah, yeah.
but it's skim milk, which I would be really curious to know why that is,
I know.
and not the
Is
fat.
it in the Materia Medica?
I'm sure somebody's
Look,
smart.
the Materia Medica. Oh yeah, skimmed. Oh yeah, skimmed cow's milk. If you want to skim the homeopathic or the clinical section while I keep talking, and maybe you'll
I'm
see
gonna.
something. Is that okay? So,
Mhm.
so Aethusa was the one that everybody used to always give for that extreme milk intolerance. We also have talked in past podcast episodes about Nat Carb being a number one milk intolerance remedy, but Lack Defloratum is even more important for this. So I have a little. Nope, I'm not going to present that case. It's not my case. I don't want to present it. I have an example, but we're not going to do that. So, let's look in our Materia Medicas on Lack Defloratum. Did you find anything about why skim milk?
No, I didn't find it why they used skim.
Okay,
Not
so
in America, but I'll look. I'll see if I can find another one.
okay, so I'll talk through. Then I'm in Dr. Murphy's Nature's Materia Medica. I'm going to talk through some of the points that he has in here. The under the mind, the mental symptoms are, maybe you can look this word up.
Oh yeah, albuminaria.
No, what? No, vacillation.
Oh,
Oh, no, I'm under mind. Vacillation. What is vacillation? So
I that means back and forth. Yeah, indecision.
ah,
They go back and forth and they can't decide, and it leads to inactivity or inability to make a decision or
so
in yeah.
remember Lack caninum had that swing. Was the swinging part of all the milks, or was that just Lack caninum?
No, that was like caninum. So, and this might not be swinging back and forth. I think it visually might feel that way because they're kind of back and forth in their opinion,
Okay.
but it's more the inability to decide.
Okay. Yeah, indecisiveness. Okay. Depression with crying, palpitations, and fainting spells. They can be very gassy as a physical symptom. There might be constant pain in the lumbar region of the back, lumbago, hard pressive pains. This is a great remedy for low milk supply in the breastfeeding mother. This can restore the milk. The eyeballs can be intensely painful. The person can have pimples on the face and forehead. The girl might have delayed menses with congestion of blood, coldness of hands, nausea, and vertigo. They could have, this is a great remedy for loss of appetite, malnutrition, and aversion to milk. See, I want to go take all the lacks so I can drink milkshakes
You
again.
have dairy.
That's all I want is a milk. I want ice cream and milkshake.
A milkshake does sound
Right?
good right now, like a good Chick-fil-A milkshake.
See, that's exactly what I'm saying. Good Chick-fil-A milkshake.
Like,
That's all I
I
want.
can even handle dairy, but Chick-fil-A milkshakes, there's something in there hurts me.
Oh. Um, so the migraines and with intense throbbing pains, the sick headache with icy coldness all through the body.
Something I've noticed that recurs in this one is the like a very sensitive to light.
Okay.
Sensitive to light with the headache, but also just in general, it said the photophobia
Mm-hmm.
and any light. So maybe that is something to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. Turn that down a little bit. Okay. Um, so asthma attacks. So this can have an effect on the lungs with asthma that's worse from drinking milk. Interesting. Modalities, worse from cold, worse from milk, worse in the morning, worse for motion. They might have really offensive breath. They might have persistent constipation, which we all know milk. Well, I mean, milk can cause constipation or diarrhea, but for a lot of people, it's that constipation. They can't. This is a great remedy, I think, like we already said, for morning sickness and the pregnant mom. It's also good for motion sickness. It's a big one for motion sickness, actually. Sore throat, worse when swallowing. This is a great remedy for migraines and especially in the people who are allergic to milk. So you don't have to be allergic to milk to use this for a migraine, but it's especially useful. Loss of sleep, severe vomiting with no relief.
Something too, some mental notes in your notes that they're probably in here. I just didn't read all of the small things where people who are claustrophobic
Oh, yeah.
have a fear of narrow places. Um, like this is kind of strange, but like being stuck in the toilet or stuck in an enclosed room.
Mm.
Like the poor little cows that are so abused and milked to death, they're like stuck
Mhm.
in that little space.
Yep.
They might have low self-confidence and low self-esteem. So
Mhm.
not quite to the extent of lack caninum, but they do feel like they're ugly and have a lack of confidence.
Right. Yep.
It's a good one.
Yeah,
Man,
that is
this
a good
always
one.
makes me it does make me start thinking like, do my kids get that? Do I ever have that? But some good takeaways. There's a lot of questions I get are about milk supply.
Yep.
Like, milk supply. This seems to be heavily linked to hormones as well,
Yeah.
like pregnancy, breastfeeding,
Mhm. Yep.
because even the migraines and um, nausea,
That's true.
loss of sleep, constipation, all that periodic stuff that comes with your cycle.
Oh, here, right here. The idea of potentizing skimmed milk originated with Swan upon reading Donkin's Skim Milk Treatment for Diabetes and Bright's Disease. Milks contain an essence of all the tissues and salts of the animal that secretes it. So Lack Defloratum contains natmur, so it shares a thirst for large quantities, nausea and vomiting, and depression with crying and palpitations. Lack Defloratum is useful in diseases with malnutrition and anemia, feels completely exhausted, whether she does anything or not, great fatigue when walking. So anyway, that is from Dr. Murphy, where he said the idea of using skimmed milk came from this guy.
Okay, so it's just that guy's origin. We still don't know why he chose it, but that's where the remedy idea came from.
Skim milk treatment for diabetes and Bright's disease. So there must be something to skim skimmed milk being useful in diabetes and Bright's disease. Wonder if that's a thing. So anyway, that is I'm going to look it up really quick. Skim milk for diabetes. Specific types of milk, such as skim milk, contain fewer carbs, which may make it more suitable choice for diabetic people who don't have a lactose intolerance. Okay. All right. That was a good one. We'll come back next time, our next Materia Medica Monday, and do Lack Humanum, aka Lack Maternum.
Okay, thank you. That was fun.
Yep. Great to see you. See you next time.